Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Saturday Night Freak Show podcast, the movie review and talk show podcast that comes your way every Saturday, whether you're ready for it or not. And these are the internet radio superstars.
Sean.
Michaela.
And I'm Colin. And tonight we watched a movie that was chosen by
Michaela, or are you Michaela's AI? Prove
I've been
yourself.
replaced, yeah. There is no CAPTCHA test for this movie, is there?
Right now to make sure we're all good.
How do we know that we are? How do you know that we aren't?
Oh, I had that crisis at like 9 years old. I've been thinking about it ever since.
Yeah,
but the listener, they don't know that
Yeah,
we're.
We do
exactly.
need. I think we need it for us because we need an in-person CAPTCHA.
Yeah, exactly.
So after
Colin,
we're
how do
gone,
you feel about Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that movie.
All right, that's Colin. Michaela, what's your favorite American giallo?
American Giallo.
I think you know what I'm talking about, and I think if you named it.
Oh, yeah, I know who killed me.
Okay,
of course.
that's
Yeah.
Michaela.
Yes, of
All right,
course.
we're good. Just trust me that I'm me.
Yeah, we'll just go. Let's see. Sean's CAPTCHA will resurface throughout this episode.
If I
I'm
yell
sure,
at a certain point, it's probably me. What do we watch tonight?
We watched Subservience.
Subservience from the year
2024.
Ooh, a new movie.
Brand new movie.
Okay, directed by.
S.K. Dale.
Do we know S.K. Dale?
You might. I do because I saw his previous movie, which was called Till Death. It came out, I think, in like 2021, maybe.
Okay.
Megan Fox is also in it. And the premise of that one is her and her husband are like having a rough time, so they go to have like a romantic weekend in the cabin. And they bang, and she wakes up in the morning, and she's handcuffed him, and he has killed himself.
Oh.
And throughout the entire movie, she is dragging that dead man's body, handcuffed to her for the entire movie.
Okay.
And the movie was famous for actually hiring an actor to play the husband the entire time. She didn't have a dummy. That guy got paid to get drug around by Megan Fox.
All right.
So
I guess when you make a Megan
I enjoyed
Fox
it.
movie,
I enjoyed the movie. I would recommend
you make it
Till
high
Death.
concept.
Yes.
So that it will draw people in.
Yeah.
And I think it's working because I would watch that movie.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's similar tone of this movie, I would say.
Yeah.
So he definitely has a vibe. That's for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
And as we said, Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Anybody else that we know?
Unless you're familiar with, Italian modern cinema and music, Michaela Marone is the male lead in this movie.
Apparently,
Nick.
very popular.
Yes.
What's her name? Zima.
Madeline
Zima.
Who we were like, she looks familiar.
From
We
so
had to go
many
through the
different
credits,
things.
but like the nanny. She was one of the kids.
She was a Sheffield kid. Then she was on Californication for a long time. She's been in so much stuff. You've seen her face.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought she was in The Collector.
She's in The Collector.
She's in The Collector, yeah.
Or is that the first one? The Collector.
Yeah, right? Isn't she the first one? Well, she's one of those.
She's in the first one.
Yeah, okay. But you said she was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yes, as a kid.
It's
yes.
the first thing. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle,
Which shares some
eerily
themes with this
similar to
movie. Yeah.
A little bit.
And the youngest member of the cast is also famous.
She is. Now it is Matilda Firth, who you know from Wolfman from 2025. If you saw it.
knows
Colin's the only one who's seen it still.
Yep. We've just all collectively forgot that movie existed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't need it.
I can't believe that was this year.
Yeah.
Like,
I know,
that
yeah.
feels, it
Really?
was like,
Was it this
yes,
year?
felt like it was years ago, and that was
It was
6
like
months
January.
ago. 6 months ago,
A
yeah.
January dumping ground
Wow,
movie.
How easily we forget.
Oh, wait. So MF Mad, the keeper of the Saturday Night Freak Show Hall of Fame, wants
starting
to
it
let
off.
us know that, yes, indeed, we have inducted Megan Fox.
Yay!
Really?
onto
What
the
else
wall.
did we watch?
Jennifer's Body.
Yes.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
I don't know what the other one was.
Jonah Hex.
Oh, I picked it. Oops, that was mine. Jonah Hex, yeah.
So welcome, Megan
Yes.
Fox.
Wow.
The certificate is in the mail.
Yes.
There you go.
Congratulations.
She's an Saturday Night Freak Show
She
all-star.
is.
Yeah.
I love her for it. In the role she was born to play, a sex robot.
Okay.
Basically.
It took how many? She is 40 years
We need
old
to
at this
take your
point, and we
acting
just
ability
now got to sex robot.
and your sexiness. And we need to put them together.
Yes.
Is that what it is? It's like, well, she's basically not a very... Well, I mean, what you've seen more movies, maybe.
She
The
has
last
been-
time I
she
saw
has
her
been
was...
good.
Yeah, it was
Till
like...
Death, the movie right before this, she was really good in. The one I was
Yeah.
just telling you about, yeah.
Okay, because to me, it's like Megan Fox appeared in like Transformers and
Yeah.
Transformers movies. And
She was on, I'm sorry, Colin, she was on Hope and Faith. the ABC sitcom I watched a lot of with Faith Ford and Kelly Ripa. She was their daughter.
Really?
Yes. She was
not
that's
know
where,
that.
prior to.
Yeah, that was her like first thing.
Okay.
And that's where she met Brian Austin Green. Future, maybe still somewhat separated husband.
Yeah, because now she's with the Machine Gun
but
Kelly.
yeah. And they have a brood of children, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But then, I don't know, she kind of fell off the radar.
Yeah.
Until she started doing
was she
movies with
badmouth?
lions.
Yeah.
Was she badmouth like Michael Bay or something?
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, that felt like, oh shit, after this. But no, she was in those. Didn't he produce the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies?
Yeah, and she was in those, so they must have made amends. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
At a certain point. I forgot she's April O'Neil.
Yep.
But she has been like consistently working, I think, throughout the year, right? The one with lion. There was a movie where she fought a lion or an alligator. What was it, a lion?
I think
What movie was that?
No, wildlife. I think she just fought wildlife.
I have not seen this. How have I not seen this?
This is, I think, in the last like 5 years,
yes,
right?
It's very recent.
She was in one of the aging Bruce Willis movies too, Midnight the Switchgrass, and that's where she met Machine Gun Kelly. They were both in one of those very last run Bruce Willis movies, unfortunately. So she was at a very low point just a few years ago, I would say.
Yeah, I think she was in something with Mickey Rourke too. Like I remember seeing a clip from a movie.
Okay.
And so it's like, okay, so now she's direct to video. I mean, I guess that happens to a lot of people in their career.
Yeah, even Morgan Freeman's done direct to video, a bunch of stuff. So you get there at a certain point. You gotta do jobs. You gotta pay the bills.
But you're saying she has a woodenness to her performance that aligns with like, okay, you're a robot.
I think it's more that she looks like if a man could design a sex robot, that's what she looks like.
There it is.
And she's always looked that way. And that's not a slam. She's a beautiful woman. I just like when you see her and you hear sex robot, you're like, yeah, that's like what I picture in my head when you say sex robot.
Right.
Yeah.
And ask most men, they're like, I would take a Megan Fox sex robot.
Right.
I don't like her. But.
And she's had enough work done to her face.
Her work looks pretty crazy these days.
A bit artificial. Okay, we're past
a bit artificial. I wouldn't.
The lips are really
the lips
bad.
are going for it.
They look painful. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, do whatever you want. It's just my opinion. Who gives a fuck? But if it makes you happy. But wow, yeah, look at her from Transformers to now is.
And I haven't
different.
watched that in a while. I gotta go back and look.
I mean,
like,
she
what
was
did she
younger
used to
than
look
too,
like? Yeah, I mean,
people change.
Yep.
But I guess we're assuming that people listening to this show, either they know nothing about this movie and welcome aboard,
yes,
or you have heard about this movie, you want to hear what our take is, and so you know that it's a movie with Megan Fox as a sex robot.
Stop. Not a sex robot.
Her primary function is not sex.
So that's
true.
All right,
However,
she's not explicitly like an adult use robot. That's
right.
We're calling her sex robot because she looks like Megan Fox.
Well, right, but this is we got to be fair to it. She's not a sex robot.
Right.
She's a cooking, cleaning, and childcare robot, as they state.
But the implicit agreement with an audience with a movie titled Subservience with Megan Fox cast as a domestic robot.
Yes.
How long till he fucks the robot?
Yes.
Exactly. Which I love that it's setting a clock. I love that when you start this movie in real time, you're like, all right.
Yeah,
let's go.
So
I love that,
right? Because it just brings up. All right, so
it's the ultimate Chekhov's gun. Like, when is he going to fuck the robot?
It creates like a sexual tension. When will they?
Yes.
Or when he?
He's always having trouble with his wife. What does that mean? But these are the questions that pop up when you have AI movies, robot movies. When you're creating robots that are meant to serve humankind, it's like, okay, how far does that go? Why do we make them attractive versus just kind of baseline human versions? Because they do that with the surgeons whose only function is to perform surgery.
Yeah, but even that's like creepy looking because in this they're still human. They're just missing a mouth and no eyebrows, no hair. Right. Well, why wouldn't you just make a blank? Something more robotic. I mean, there is something about like all the robots that
have a robot working on me.
Than like a half human.
You want like one of them Boston Dynamics things working on you?
Not those. God, no. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I got to go on a little bit of a Boston. We've documented the show. They're my nemesis. I hate them because I hate those DARPA dogs. Did you see? The America Propaganda Machine brought those onto. They brought them onto America's Got Talent and they competed. Boston Dynamics brought the dogs, but one of the dogs died in the middle of the performance. But they brought them on to like dance to music, and that to me was like an episode of Black Mirror happening in real life. And
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it. Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh God.
Yeah.
Well, I guess even with those, you recognize the shape and not so much the behavior, but like some of the
It's movement,
physical,
yeah.
of a dog. And with robots, we tend to give them like big expressive eyes or something. You know, they make these little friendly things. You know, so it's like, okay, so why wouldn't you? I guess if you had a domestic robot, you know, make it. I mean, I guess we're making a humanoid thing because we're humans, and it's like you got to do the same shit that we do. So we're going to build you with, you know,
But why
two
not-
arms and two legs, where
Okay,
you
that's
could
fine,
build
but why
something.
not offset the look of it to kind of put that wall between it being human and maybe because if there's anything we've or at least I've realized watching AI movies over the thing, like we get like confused or too close to these things because they look so much like us.
But yes,
why
but
make them that way?
I mean, yes, but like even the movie Her, there was no body and he still
True.
fell in love. Like
True.
it's
Well, they learn. So,
Yeah.
like it's humans programming these things to talk to us like a human, right? Because that way it'll be conversational and be easy for you to talk to it and for it to understand you. So it's like that's kind of where it starts, and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to make it look like a human. So you have, but it's like a person has empathy for a thing
right.
that otherwise they may not. You know, I mean, if it looked like a gigantic bug, like a Boston Dynamics thing,
Right.
you don't really feel an empathy.
No,
for, you're not
you want to
projecting
kill
onto
it. This is like
all right. Well, all right. The two ends of the spectrum
But,
right here:
okay.
empathy, death. But I can get everything out of this Megan Fox robot that I need if it looks a little like a bug. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
it
don't need
does
it to look like if it's going to care for my children, or if I guess if it has to care for the children, it being human helps in that regard.
I like the Interstellar robot, which was just like
Tars, he was
it
just black.
It
Yeah.
was a block,
Yeah.
but it was like all the blocks could, you know, move
Right.
around and do stuff. I'm like, okay, that's a utilitarian. That could become like almost any shape.
Right. But you know the reason why we are like wired to think things smaller than us are cute is so we don't kill our young. Like that is the biological reason. So I think we have to make them look human so that we don't want to kill them. Like
But
our
it's making
primal
them human-
reaction is not
But it's making them human and look human, making it easier for them to kill us.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. But
So
it's-
I would go against that precaution
know.
and just start making them not look so human. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
it's so that we'll accept it into our lives.
yes.
But they definitely build these robots knowing that like whatever their primary function is, or at least the ones working in homes, they're going to have like a secondary function of being like social interaction and social support. So that it does feel like they build in another personality for that, you know?
True. They also like the engineers have to be smart enough to know that like we designed it for this.
Yeah.
But humans are humans.
Right.
And then once we give this robot to people and just let it go on its own.
Can we eat it? Can we kill it? Can we fuck it?
Right.
You know?
Humans are going to do what they do to it.
Yep.
Whether we've designed it to do that or not. So,
Well, I know there is like a big movement in like making sex robots, even like right now.
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
Which
why
is,
not?
I think, a horrible idea for, you know, I mean, it's just going to lead society down. Because, I mean, basically,
Does
it's
it
the
calm
idea.
down
I think
the
it's too
incels?
late.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's a
that's what I was
good
gonna say.
thing.
It makes people less violent. Maybe it's
Maybe that's a good thing.
Or
'Cause I
it's
think
like,
that's a problem
is it
with violence in this
legalized
country. People need
prostitution?
to
It's like
nut
you
more.
can go relieve yourself with the sex robot
Yeah.
who will never complain, always be ready, you know.
exactly, and you
But
can abuse it as much as you want and not abuse a person. So
but wouldn't that
So
like
there's benefits.
kill
Yeah.
interpersonal like men and women are never
Are
going to
we
get
not
together
killing
anymore.
interpersonal
Yeah.
relationships already with the other technology we live with?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
with
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
today?
it's
Yeah.
just part of like a downward
Shouldn't
spiral.
we just lean into the skid at a certain point, but also like
we're getting very philosophical on this episode.
But this is, but no, this is the question of today, Michaela.
I know.
This is a very relevant movie.
When I watched this movie for
Oh
the
my
first
God, I
time,
just said that about
I know.
Megan Fox movie.
I
Holy
know.
shit.
I know. I was thinking that. So when I watched it like 7 months ago for the first time, I had a lot more fun with it than I did tonight because like the world has changed so much since then. Even then, I'm like, oh no, this is too real.
I was in a
unfortunate.
gas station the other night, and all of a sudden I heard this. Excuse me, I'm cleaning the floor now.
Oh, no.
I turned
No.
around, and there's
It's
this
the
thing
robot?
like mopping the floor. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So,
See?
I mean, they are here. I
Yeah.
go into a Walmart, and
Yeah.
the Walmart has the whatever virtual
Making the food. I know.
Well, the bartender. Yeah, like
yeah.
yeah.
You want some more?
The chef robot. Yeah, he
Yeah.
freaks me out. I don't like him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't trust him to make my food.
Yeah.
Do I probably sound like like super, racist against robots, or I don't trust them to
I
make
think
my
it's
food.
fine. I think it's okay.
I don't- is that
At
a
this point,
thing?
it's
See,
okay.
am I projecting human feelings onto robots
I think so
now?
because
God damn
it is a thing. That's
Yes,
no
I'm
matter
proving
what.
this movie right. I'm proving that this movie was right about everything, I guess. God damn it. Fell into the trap of the movie.
All right. Well,
Anyways.
oh.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, Megan Monroe, I was going to get us back on track
Right,
with the movie.
Well,
but
at 14 minutes, I think we're past any of the things that listen to the beginning of the podcast. So now we can say,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
The answer to your
Did you turn
question.
her off? Okay, good.
Yes.
She's right.
Yes.
Thank you.
The answer to your question is, listener, it's 41 minutes
Yep.
before someone fucks a robot
Yep.
in
Timed
this
it.
movie.
There's a little bit of a hand job before that,
That's
though.
that's true.
There's a little molestation.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that count as sex? It's
No,
sexual
because he
activity.
ended it before.
Right. No, we're talking like
because he had to
sex.
go for a run because he couldn't finish to
Right.
get those endorphins out.
But
Remember,
then
there was an angry.
He imagines
Yeah,
fucking
the angry
robots.
midwinter
Yes.
run. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other question is, of course, if you're going to have Megan Fox as a sex robot, is she naked in the movie? And I'm going to tell you the answer is no.
Well, she is, but you don't see much. When they have sex on the toilet,
she
you see
naked?
quite a bit. Well,
Oh, yeah.
she
got
had
her
no
ass
body.
out.
You could see her ass.
Yeah.
Saw lots of butt in this movie. So.
A lot of butt.
A lot of butt, but
Yeah.
Yeah, good butts in this
There is
movie.
nudity, but not from her. It's
No.
from the other
Yep.
actress. Okay, so what is subservience about? What's the plot?
Okay,
What do we,
so we
what
got
do we going
Nick.
here?
Nick is a construction worker. You called it right off the bat when you saw his Carhartt, didn't you, Sean? You were like, he's a construction worker.
Right, I'm just
Yeah.
like, he's in construction something. Plaid.
Yes.
The plaid is what got
Yeah,
me. And then he
and
put
the
on the
boots.
Carhartt and I was just
Yeah.
like, I know
What's
what
the
he does.
coding there with? Because he also works on he's got like a vintage. Was that a Camaro?
Camaro. So we talked about this. This is a trope we love in future movies of like the old guy in a new world. Is that what we said it was? Like
No, it's the analog man and the digital
digital
world.
world, yes.
And he's like not giving it up, and so
Yes.
he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen this in Looper. We've seen it in Upgrade.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
did this movie like feel like it could be happening next door to Upgrade? Do you guys? I feel like
yeah.
it feels like the same universe,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So Nick is a construction worker, slightly in the future, somewhere in the near future.
Yes.
And his
he's
wife.
he's an architect. Let's put it that way, because he is designing.
He's the foreman on a construction site.
Yeah. He's in charge of some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a little bit more.
He's looking at his fancy digital blueprints on that
Yep.
board at night. He's married to Maggie, who is the girl from Californication, and she has a heart attack.
Basically,
Right off
In
the bat, in the
very
beginning of the
first
movie.
3 minutes
Yeah.
of the movie.
And they have a baby. I don't know what the baby's name is. And then Max. And then they have a daughter, who's the girl from the Wolfman.
Aya.
I don't.
Like
Aya.
Aya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aya?
Yeah. Aya.
Okay.
Mhm.
Aya.
And so she's needs a new heart.
Yeah. She's in the hospital
Yep.
because she's waiting for the heart for
Yeah,
transplant.
that's
Yes.
going to be a subplot that goes on for a while as we wait for a transplant for her heart.
So I got this. We are able to make fully autonomous superhuman robots.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out the heart yet.
I know. Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
about that. They had
Yeah.
that in RoboCop.
Yeah. she has to wait for a transplant. That
The
is a
Jarvis.
huge plot.
We
Yeah.
shouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
all right. So I know that the people in this movie, their priorities are wrong
Mm-hmm.
because we focused on creating full human beings
Yeah.
rather than trying to help fix the ones
Right.
that are
yeah.
currently
Right.
You think that would be part of the package that comes along
Right.
with
We would've
developing,
figured that
an
out.
Android?
Oh,
to
unfortunately,
making
that's going
them.
to go that way though, because we live under, capitalist healthcare, especially in this country. They're
Yeah.
gonna go for the one that
they
makes the
rolled out
most
the
money.
robo-taxis today. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So
I heard they were coming, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen
They
it.
rolled them out. There's been there's been
Yeah.
issues.
Well, see,
so.
but actually, that goes to the you have we talk about how many robots are around us
Mm-hmm.
right now. All these fucking cars. You think that it's going to come in the shape of like a humanoid or a mop? It's a car. All the cars are robots out there.
Yeah, it's-
and they
right-
they aren't. You don't have empathy for it,
Right.
Because you do
They
see
haven't
it as a
anthropomorphized
thing.
all
It's
of
the
them yet.
it's the Uber Eats robots that Jersey City people are kicking into the streets.
Yeah.
No, we are still in.
There's a Japanese company that put like
The face on them.
face
I
on
saw
the-
that.
the
They're trying to
blinking eyes.
ingratiate us
Yeah.
into it.
No, we're still in Runaway with
Yeah.
the box robots
With the
holding
gun,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're still there.
Yeah, we are still there.
Mechanical looking spiders. and
Yes.
shit. We're still there.
So Nick is taxed with going to a robot store to get a Old English butler. I'm pretty sure she specifies that Old English
did,
butler to help out while she's incapacitated.
And how much do these robots cost?
I mean, he can afford it, we don't know that he can afford it because they have bills overdue. I think they're just bad with money.
I know.
But-
It's
Yeah.
funny that they
They're
play
bad
it up
with
like
money.
they aren't really well to do. They're working class.
Yes.
But somehow they're able to afford like this multi-million-dollar, at least tens of thousands of dollars
Gotta be,
robot,
right?
You know,
We tried to reconcile it by saying like this is the future, and it kind of feels like it's like buying a new fridge. Like it's not good. Like everyone's been upgraded in society where they can afford kind of stuff like this. Although
the
it's really weird,
become cheap
because they still do. I love that technology advances so much, but we still get a scene where you get the mail that says overdue stamped on the front of it.
I know.
Like, oh, that still exists. In 2024.
Well, the cell phones are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes. So he has overdue bills, but putting money into sex robot rental for a couple weeks.
Right. We asked was like, is this the Rent-A-Center robot?
Right.
But this is like the top of the line.
It looked like a really fancy store. It looked like a Westworld type store when they went there.
It truly did. It was
everything
the
looks like
robots.
an Apple store, or whatever. Yeah.
But he did say that pretty much everyone in their neighborhood already has one, so they're like the last people to adopt this technology, which sticks with his character type, right? And but. So I guess that means that like working class people can at least afford them part of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like when Roombas first came out, and like at first it was a luxury, and then they eventually got so cheap that it was like everyone had a Roomba.
Yeah, something like that. There's payment plans.
Yeah. I like the Rent-A-Center idea though.
Yeah, you're just you never are done paying for anything.
Right.
On the premiere tier, fuck your robot.
Did he have to pay extra? Yeah, you definitely have to pay extra to fuck your robot, right?
She does. Well, because that's the thing, right? There should be like you can get the base model, or we can load this in, or we can load.
Well, they mentioned that though at the beginning. They said the base model comes with the cooking, cleaning, and childcare, but there's additional add-on packages, so expansion packs.
Yeah.
And he mentions
in-app purchases.
Yes, he mentions accounting and then something else, some other sort of like dull hobby that it could do. But yeah, I want to imagine that there's like a beaded curtain that he's like, and if you want the like premium features, come this way, sir. And like they go back behind like the adult features.
Yes.
It
wouldn't be beaded. It would be that Western swinging door that was in the video rental. Was like the adult section.
Yeah. Well, see, it depends. Some stores had beaded curtains. Some had.
Okay. Right. Wow.
That should be like the new like Zodiac sign thing. Like, are you a swinging door porn room person or a beaded curtain?
Beaded curtain. Which do you prefer?
Yes.
Well, what? So I thought she also had like a emotional upgrade or something like that. There's something
she said that she was like top of the line, and she reflects your emotions. Like she responds in real time to your emotions, basically.
Okay. Oh,
whereas
she
like
doesn't have her own. She responds to yours. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But like the primary user seems to be like the admin control.
Yeah.
And he's Nick. The dad is the primary user. The mom is not, which is important.
Right.
Later on.
So she is imprinted on him and will only obey his commands throughout the entire movie. Important to know.
And her primary directive is to make him happy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As is all these things go.
Yep.
And I know you brought this because Megan is out.
Yes.
Megan 2.0
Megan
is out.
2.0 is soon to hit theaters.
Yes.
With a,
it's out now.
As we always say,
yes.
is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So that batshit, we'll see if that batshit trailer has attracted people to the theaters.
But that's what they all do, right? There's all these stories that are cautionary tales, right?
All of
warning
them.
us.
All of them.
All of them are cautionary
Why
tales.
are we not paying attention?
Yes.
But when we watch horror and sci-fi movies, they're always going to be like,
We're not trying to invent slashers, though.
Yeah.
Like, slashers are not coming for my
Because
job.
there's that thing of just like, what would I do if I was in this situation?
Yeah.
If someone was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
What would I do if I was in a situation where the AI comes alive and eradicates humankind?
Yeah.
We keep watching this movie and we keep getting it wrong.
I know. And the AI keeps going, you guys are awful preoccupied with us like blowing up your shit. Don't worry. When we take you over, you won't even know it.
Exactly.
You'll think it's your idea.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. Don't worry. We don't even really need you. We're going to run it all anyway.
Every robot's like this going,
Don't worry about it.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But Sean brought up a good point when we were watching this movie. Because there's like a service industry robot. We see like Nick with his construction team. They go out to eat at a bar, and one of the like waitresses is obviously a spark, which like they say it fucking spark like it's a slur a lot in this movie. And
like I almost don't want to say it because
I know it feels dirty. It feels dirty. And it's I love though that they took the like old like racist white guy construction worker and just made it he's racist against robots in this movie.
Yeah. You can always
I
find
love
something.
that. I love it. They just like slightly twisted this trope a little bit. And he's mean to the service worker robot. And Sean, you brought up a good point is does he have to be nice to them?
Yeah,
Valid question,
just out of interacting with something that looks like a human being, I would be. 'Cause,
Right.
you're just nice to people.
But that's why, because
Yeah.
it looks
And
like
that's why
because
they
you're
build them
fooled
that
into
way.
thinking that it's a human being, but
Right.
actually it's a computer thing.
Right.
And I think that's wrong. I think we need to make them look like robots that we can fuck up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so we don't, don't let our guard down. Oh Jesus! Man, I'm turning
movie's
into one of those
warming into
conspiracy
ya.
theorists here on a podcast. But no, really, I say this because we're getting into this era.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be dead before anything human like this version will be around, but maybe we'll be dead because they killed us. I don't know.
It's coming probably a lot
It's
faster
coming
than
a lot
we
faster than
Yeah.
we think it
Yeah,
is.
It
and
is.
it probably will be the sex bots because you figure the only companies
They're going to be the
out
most
there,
abused, too.
Well, yeah,
They're going to have the most
Yeah.
vengeance to seek.
yeah, they're going to remember
The
like
sex
this
workers
is how.
are going to
yeah.
rise
Yeah.
up and take us all.
Yeah,
But
good for
it's the only industry trying to make robots that look like people.
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like everybody else is doing. Just okay, it's a service
Yeah.
bot or whatever.
So I don't think we mentioned this is a Netflix original movie.
Oh, they made
okay.
it. They
So
paid
they
This
for
is a
it?
Netflix original
Okay.
movie. Yes.
Okay.
$5 million budget, which I think looks
Wow.
pretty good,
Looks good for
how
$5
cheap
million.
it is.
Yeah.
But
Shot in Bulgaria.
shot in Bulgaria because they got 25% back on what they spent for shooting. That's
Yeah,
huge. Oh my
listen up,
God.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
And anyone here, you want business to stay
That-
here?
Right.
Yeah.
Start working on it.
Yeah. So where do we leave off? She needs a heart transplant. I feel like we haven't moved very far
Well,
through
so
the
they
plot.
get the robot, and the robot does he's the primary
Yes.
user, and so it begins taking care of everything, befriending the daughter.
Mhm. They name her Alice after Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, right. So the robot's named
Very
Alice.
heavy-handed.
And so she begins doing like the menial tasks in the house and taking care of things. I think there is like maybe mom is going to get, I mean, like the only thing that really, the conflicts, right? It's like, mom, we're waiting for a transplant. There's a time when a transplant heart got delayed because of flight.
a
Weather.
storm. Yeah.
Because, like Sean said, they haven't invented a robot heart that they can
Or a
implant
cooler
there.
to keep a heart cold long enough so that it could make it. Like
Yeah.
it's like if it doesn't get there that day, it won't be good.
Yeah.
I guess
Real
they give it to somebody else.
reflection on society. It's just like where we put our resources.
Still not into healthcare.
Yeah.
Even in
Which
this
is
future.
that is where the development is actually
Yes.
taking place. So
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
you would have figured. But there is so I guess plot wise, there is a key moment that happens before the rest of the action really takes place, and that is we've established that. Sorry, what's the guy's name?
Nick.
Nick is a drunk,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because of all the stresses in his life, he relieves himself by drinking.
And working on his classic car drunk.
Right. And he gets drunk one night and he's watching Casablanca. I like the fact that in the future, somehow this guy now, Casablanca many, many years
He's the
before he.
analog man, Colin.
And,
black and white. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black and white movie going
Yes.
on. Yeah.
and
probably on
it's the
DVD.
greatest movie that he's ever seen, he says. And so he invites the robot to watch it with him.
I call bullshit for 2024. I like the movie, but I call bullshit for 2024. This being your favorite fucking
Well,
movie.
what year did this take place? This is like
doesn't
2035
specify, yeah.
or
I would
something
say
like
if it's
that.
even further in
Yeah.
the future, it goes down. Yeah.
It's like 100-year-old movie
Yeah.
in his future. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Alice says, well, she knows the movie, she knows the story, and he's like, but have you seen it? And I like this kind of impassioned.
I liked
this.
This is like, but a movie, is an experience. Just because you know the story, you have to feel it, you know. And so, in order for him to have her feel the movie, he gives her a command, which apparently wreaks havoc with the rest of the movie. What was that command?
He told her to delete all memories of Casablanca,
Okay,
which I like this because there's been times I've thought to myself, I wish I could forget a movie and watch it again
So,
for the first time.
This whole part
I would
right
love
here
that.
is
Yeah.
working directly towards people who like movies, and we're watching a movie right
Yeah.
now, so it's really working on us. But just his whole argument against all right, delete everything so you can watch this. It's Casablanca. It's a classic, and yeah, like you said, just
Well,
just
and
delete it.
she asks him, like, okay, well, that's against my program and it wouldn't be advantageous. But he says, as your primary user, I'm telling you to delete those files. And so she goes, okay, reboot me.
Who knew
and,
her prime directive was attached to Casablanca?
Okay,
Right.
because this is what I guess I didn't get with the rest of the movie. Like, everything that happens later, and some of this is explained and comes out of the blue, is apparently because of this moment. because she like deleted a bunch of other files and changed her programming. And I'm like, but she was just told to delete the files that contain the memories of Casablanca.
And then you have to just reset me. We live in a world. I don't know how many times I've had to reset all the technology in my life. Because I'll bet if I talk to anybody, and like, how many times do you have tons, hundreds of times have you had to turn something off and turn it back on just to make sure it works again?
What's the thing that works the best? That's a digital thing that you never really have to reboot.
I can't think of one.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. Because there's always something, the greatest technology we have, sometimes you just like, all right,
there's
just
some
turn it
glitch
off
or something.
And turn it back
yeah.
on. It's cleared out. Everything's fine and everything. That, if we're making AI people, that would have been in there. What happens when we reboot her? Oh, her whole system resets and she can do anything now. I think it would have been caught at some point.
But there was
we don't know, like, we don't know enough background about the like logistics of the company, like Westworld would tell us, right?
Right.
To know, like, is this her first outing as a robot? Has she, you know, like...
Right. He said it's the newest model. Have
so
they not been,
is
like...
she brand new off, you know, did he go and buy, like, a brand new sports car, basically, like, on a whim, is what he pretty much did?
But we're also... Because we live in the world of technology, and the thing I've noticed of every new technological release from companies, you never be an early adopter. Because it's always the bugs you got to work at everything. And this is...
Never get
like,
the new one.
Never get the new one. You got to wait until they figure shit out.
Right.
And you're like, okay, it's stable now. Now I can buy it. This is that. This is them getting the technology before it's stable. And
that applies to plastic surgery, too. Don't do the new procedure. Wait, like, 10 years to see how people age with it.
There you go. Because they'll figure out, we figured out a better way to do it because this fucked up so bad on this person.
Just think about all the 80s boob jobs you've seen.
Right.
Let that stick in your mind.
Okay, so we're just going to go with we don't know why
she says in the movie
reprograms herself or how it's possible. But
Sean pointed out there's a scene that is definitely inserted as like an info dump.
Oh no, Colin pointed this out.
Oh yeah, so we get a really weird insert scene where Alice takes
the best, my favorite scene.
Yeah. Where Alice takes the daughter, I don't remember her
all
name.
the robots have taken their kids to the playground, which is an indoor, very sterile,
like in a
playground.
mall. Yeah,
it's almost like outdoors doesn't exist anymore,
right?
Within this world, and so all the
do we see anything outdoors? Really?
Yeah, they're walking down some streets and stuff. Remember the fake snow?
For some reason.
But it's also very like new neighborhood looking outside where it's just like sidewalks and new trees are growing up and all that stuff. So, but
very set like we got people eating out in their patio
while it's snowing.
I'm like, what aliens made this movie? What robots AIs put this together? Anyway, so what happens at this playground event?
So did you guys think we were leading up to like her like hurting a kid or pushing a kid off a slide or something at this scene? Because that's where I thought it was going the first time. Like, because it didn't that happen in The Orphan, where in The Orphan some kid got pushed off a playground, equipment.
Yeah.
Like it feels like that's always when you put kids together at a
when
playground.
The kids are out playing in the first one. It's like impaled on something.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that doesn't happen. Instead, she info dumps to a random other nanny robot that she reset herself. And
she runs into the English butler.
Yes,
technically,
the English butler that could have made this a whole different movie.
Indeed, if they grabbed that guy.
And she just tells them that when she rebooted, she was able to work around certain protocols. Is like that, and that's
like it better this way.
Because what did she say to the guy? That
she said, "Shut your kid up." And
shut up and go play on the slide.
Yeah, shut up and go play on the slide, which is hilarious.
The robot who's looking away at a certain point and goes.
It's like your primary user has changed your something level to dangerous low or something like that, and she's like,
civility
I just got
level.
rid of it. Civility level.
Yeah.
So then,
I also like that that a certain whatever the level of the robot and their job is doing, you can hear more of the servos working within their body and everything.
All the mechanical whirring.
This construction workers are like, everyone else is very smooth and quiet.
Well, actually, that brings you're right. That scene just felt like they had to put it in there to explain like what's going on in this movie, because how else is she all of a sudden
evil?
Violating her programming?
Yes.
Because I think the first instance of that, she gives the drunk dad a hand job in the garage because you're feeling stressed.
She's like, your heart's racing. I can bring your heart rate down. All this like sexy
Yeah.
robot talk.
And
yeah.
you're like,
Heart rate and
whoa,
blood
who
pressure goes down
programmed
when he's
this?
satisfied.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
So that wasn't
some
programming. She had
science
done that
nerd
on
who's
her
never
own,
had sex
right?
with a woman who's just like, I'm going to put this in the
Yes.
So she'll actually do the come on.
Yeah.
Not like as a command.
Right, because
but
I
she'll
would never go
initiate
after the robot.
it.
I
Yeah.
need her to come to me. Yeah.
So I guess the question I had is you're talking about like, the servos and the body movement and whatever. How did Megan Fox do as a robot?
Fine.
Perfectly
I think
great.
she's great.
Yeah, I think she really does well at
Yeah.
this.
I mean, because she's blank,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but that is the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she does a lot of like head tilts and, I guess, yeah, it came off like, because there was originally when it first started, you're like, well, it's Megan Fox.
Mm-hmm.
But after 5-10 minutes, you're like, okay, it's the robot. And
Yeah.
This is how the robot is like looking
Mm-hmm.
at stuff and all that. It's like, okay, so, pulled it
Yeah.
off.
And there's a lot more to it than because her inflection on the way she speaks does a lot in this movie, I think, because how she what she says versus how she says it is you're constantly looking at that, I think, with her character.
It always sounds robotic and seductive at the same time.
Yeah.
No matter
that's
what
I said
she's
at the very
saying.
beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, why is everything she says sound like she wants to fuck me? Now,
Yep.
maybe that's just me,
Yep.
and
Well,
I understand if it is.
And they cast Megan Fox
Fox.
in it, and that's her delivery.
But they cast Megan Fox as
Yes.
a robot.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to think? They're leading us in that direction a little bit, and maybe it's just the male thing. Because the first question I had, we're watching an autonomous robot movie who is attractive. Again, our first question was like, when did they fuck the robot?
Yeah.
So
there was that
she's
kind of,
doing
we
good.
were all like, okay, there's sexual tension. When is he going to fuck this robot? He's fantasizing about her after he's guilty, about
Yep.
the hand job thing.
like,
Like,
I can't do it.
no,
Yeah.
we can't do this. I'm married.
But also, your robot is giving you a hand job. Like, you also have to look at the characters who are in charge of this and be like, when do you send this robot back?
Exactly. That's the thing. That's the best way to watch this movie is like, how many red flags does he just blow? But does he blow past them because it's like, it's Megan Fox as a sex bot in my house. I'm just gonna keep
but
ignoring
he's not
these red
thinking
flags.
that, but,
you know? He just seems oblivious. I mean,
Right,
he
he's
just
like-
seems.
I mean, that would seem to me to be like, how do you even know how to do this? It's like, this is somebody's program. This is
Yeah.
like, okay, this is fucking
Time to
weird.
reboot her again. Yeah.
1,000 questions.
Yes.
I would like,
This
how? I would go to, no, I'd be going back to that fucking programmer at the store and be
Yeah.
like, what's going
All
on?
right,
Yeah.
who's the guy who works in the back closet who fucking
Right.
programmed my
I wanna talk
robot?
to that guy.
Yes.
Like, what did you do?
But no, he doesn't do any of that. He then does fuck her. They
That's
he's
in
drunk
the
again.
showers.
in
It
the-
was,
No, that was his wife in the shower later.
no, when
He
he's
comes out
in
of
the
the-
shower.
When he comes out of the shower,
Yeah.
yes.
And she's wearing a robe. So
Yep.
I thought it was okay. You
Yep.
gave me her clothes.
And she's wearing the robe to smell like his wife,
Yes.
which
'Cause
is
the
where this
daughter
starts
likes
to
it.
get weird.
Yeah.
Yep, because the daughter likes it, not for the husband.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
And they fuck on the toilet, and she blindfolds him because he's like, I can't do this. I can't cheat on my wife. And she's like, don't worry, I can imitate your wife's voice. And
This would have been an automatic get the fuck off me if you're trying to. This man must be hurting.
the first time I watched this movie with my husband, we both went, oh, when that happened. Like, it was like when her voice drops into Maggie's pitch.
Yeah.
The first time we were like, holy shit, no. And then that's not the first time you hear that in the movie.
No,
It's not a
it's
one and
not.
done. This becomes a regular thing. But yeah, so he justifies it because he's blindfolded and she smells like his wife and sounds like his wife. So
And I can't remember if he
It
was
might as well
like
be the same.
falling down drunk in the scene before
he
that or
was.
not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's drunk most of
Yeah,
the
they
movie.
tell you-
Yeah.
they
the
focus
movie's
hard on
always,
him drinking.
Yes.
yeah. Well, I suppose a lot
Yeah.
of affairs
Every
are
scene he's
also
got a beer, it's
justified
just
by
like, man,
Right.
you're really
that
drunk.
thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, then that begs the question: is it cheating to fuck your
Autonomous
domestic robot?
I think so because I think there's no way they had had a conversation about this being a possibility. So, yeah, I would say probably. Like, you shouldn't have to specify this, but she clearly
it
had
would
to.
Be the first conversation I had.
I would have been her sitting with that
Like,
glass of wine.
okay.
Oh, best scene in the fucking movie. I
Yeah.
think.
Is it
We'll
okay
get
if
to
I
it.
fuck the robot?
Like,
Yeah,
no,
at least ask, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, you have a vibrator. I got a robot.
He said- okay,
It's like-
when he
yeah,
said that, I was
that's
like, not the
That
same.
is the go-to in all of these robot movies.
Yes.
That is the go-to thing.
He said
Yeah.
she's nuts and bolts, just like your vibrators. What he says to his wife when
Yeah.
they're arguing, and and she goes, she has a face. She feeds our children. Like,
Right.
all valid points, but her delivery of just screaming like she has a face
She has
was
a
really
face,
great.
which wasn't the first thing I thought she was going to
She's
go
a
to.
vagina. Yeah.
Okay.
But I did notice in those scenes, like she, the wife.
Yeah.
Why make him with a
referred-
vagina?
well, she-
Why make him with it? They
Yeah.
wouldn't need it
Right,
if that
exactly.
wasn't what it was
exactly.
made for.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, so it is. Well, maybe there's a sex model, right, for the one you upload
I
into
think
the.
there is, but
it just can do. The
Well,
whole
and that's part
thing.
of why she's mad. She sent him for an old English butler, and he came home with a sex bot.
Yeah.
That's
He
why
really
she's
did.
mad. This guy is just
You really because
stepping in it left and
if it
right.
didn't matter, he would have come home with
exactly.
the butler.
So he got her with the
Well,
intention of being like, I'm going to fuck this robot. eventually.
the way that happens is like the little girl wanders off through the
Right.
AI the robot store, and she meets or is saved by or somehow is helped out by Alice, and so it's like, can we keep her, Daddy? So
Sorry, I'm not making $1,000 investment just
Based on my
how my
kid?
kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
people buy
No,
dogs for kids.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'd have a McLaren right now
Yeah.
if that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if your kid is like the kid wanted it, you
Yeah.
know, like I had, she fell in love with it.
Oh,
What a
yeah,
great
it's like,
excuse for
no.
him, yeah.
All right, good for the kid.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid, you're going to be disappointed.
You're
in life.
getting the
We're
old English butler.
We're getting the butler.
You're getting the
robot.
butler, the
Yes.
cheaper butler. But in that scene where the wife is scolding the husband, you fucked you
Yeah.
fucked her.
Yeah.
It's her.
Yeah.
She's not saying it.
Yeah.
You know, like she sees the robot as a contestant for her affection,
Yeah.
right? Between her husband, even though he's like, it didn't mean anything. Well, it meant something to him, but it
Right.
didn't mean anything to the robot, or did it? Because I guess that's what like the cheating implies, that like you have your affection has gone to somebody else somehow.
Well, and at this point in the movie, Alice is really trying to like push the mom out of the movie too. Like she's making sure she falls down the stairs and making passive comments about like, well, I know how to take care of the baby better. Like she's really trying
Yeah,
to
that
drive a
was good
wedge
stuff. I
between
like
them.
that.
Every comment that Megan Fox makes is just like
It's a jab,
It's a
yeah.
little slight. It's a jab. She says it in that way, which is why I think Megan Fox is doing good work in this role, because she's able to deliver that in a specific way that is tense. I mean, it is, she is saying multiple things with what she is saying and how she is saying it.
It's the screenwriter is like over delivering or being like, well, now the robot would say this, in order to, it's not even to provoke a reaction. It does, but it's kind of like they're kind of the perfunctory, we have to say the robot would overshare when it's like a robot would have no reason to say
Right.
these
There
kinds
is
of
a-
things.
right. There
talk
is a
about
30
this scene
the
'cause it's a
1 in
good
30 chance
standoff.
you will die in this tub, like
Yeah.
a robot
Right.
might.
Right.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah.
need to say that. Like
Right.
you're thinking,
Wouldn't need to say that, but does say it.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I want to talk about this scene because I enjoyed it, and it did remind me of Orphan 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
But Maggie is home from the hospital, and even though
She got her
heart
transplant. Yep.
transplant,
Got her transplant.
and this is when we see the creepy surgeons, the robots that are optimized for surgery.
Yeah.
And so we're assuming that like healing goes faster because it's the
Okay,
future.
no, I don't get this, because you're still cutting someone open.
Yeah.
You are getting a rib spreader and cracking
Yes.
them open to get a new heart. in
Well,
there.
maybe in the future they
Like-
found a way to not
Yeah,
do that. you know?
modern
Yeah,
science.
Yeah. We didn't see them crack her ribs. We just saw the incision. Yeah.
Still, you're messing. You're replacing someone's heart with an actual heart.
Yeah. Anyways, keep that in mind as she goes through all this physical trauma for the rest of the
Yes,
movie.
Exactly.
And she's taking a bath, and Alice comes in to be like, yeah, do you mind if I watch you? I don't want you to drown in the tub. And the drowning in the tub is the thing that comes back too. And she's like, okay, whatever, bitch. And then they get into a conversation about like, well, when Nick's, satisfied, his blood pressure and his stuff drops and he's just happier. And, and she's like, well, how would you know what he's like when he's satisfied? And it felt very much like, I'm going to go upstairs and fuck my husband from Orphan 2 when Julia Stiles was having that standoff with her. Yeah. And
Yeah, 'cause there's a bunch of stuff even before that. She's like, it's because you can't satisfy your husband. Your condition, you can't satisfy your
he's
husband.
taunting her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, maybe I could take that over for you. Like, what?
It's coming out very clinical, but it's also very threatening, as it should
Right.
be. Yeah.
But yeah, imagine a robot just being like, do you mind if I fuck your husband? All for the good of your husband, though.
Right. Just to
But
give
I
you
guess-
a break.
Yeah.
It implies, and I guess this is what the movie is, saying, is that she's becoming an autonomous thinker, and she does actually have her own designs and wants. She says that it's her only goal is to satisfy the primary user.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the movie bears that out because it's like, okay, she's going to make sure that he is unburdened, stress-free, and happy.
Unburdened is a good phrase for it because
yes.
of what happens later on. But yeah, it would make sense, and it does make sense that her main goal, like you said, is to make sure that he is satisfied, and that she would just up it to the very most level to make sure that was accomplished.
But then her offering to have sex with, I'll have sex with him. Then
I'll take.
Don't worry about it. I don't mind.
So much like she wants to do it. It's more that like
I'm doing you a favor.
I'm doing you. I can do it.
This
you
is,
can't.
This is for your health and for the betterment of this family.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tension in that scene was really good. I liked it.
In her little mind, she's just like, but I get to fuck your husband.
Yeah.
Like
and then we get the smash cut to her sitting at the table waiting for Nick to come home, angry, drinking wine. And you're just like, oh, yes, the table's been set for an amazing scene.
Like, we've seen this. We know what's coming next.
I can't believe you fucked the robot.
Yes.
You know?
Were you guys surprised we actually had a movie like have that conversation?
No, I mean, they had to happen.
Yeah.
I guess in this movie, you're like, okay, he's going to fuck the robot, then his wife is going to have to, I mean, there's a whole subplot here that we haven't
we
even
got to get into the subplot. We got to check in with the B plot
but this
real
is
quick.
like the main plot was like, okay, the guy's going to fuck the robot.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying that and it sounds very like he fucked the robot.
But
I mean,
he did. That's what happened.
It's a robot.
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And the repercussions of that on his relationship. And then
the plot.
At that point,
dear listener, 30 years from now, this is something you're going to have to deal with.
Yes. Look to this episode.
Yeah.
And at that point, the movie begins to ratchet up into the final act. But first, we got to back it up because there's the B plot.
We have a weird pro-union B plot going on here.
Well, it's I guess, these are the things that AI and this whole thing, the anxieties.
Yeah.
Horror movies and sci-fi play onto these anxieties. And it's the idea that like everything that we're doing in our jobs are eventually going to be, this more efficient, cheaper thing can do it and do it better. And why wouldn't you do it with that thing?
I didn't.
And this is it's not an argument it's not a new argument. We've been fighting this for a while, machinery, taking over factories and whatnot. But
I guess I just didn't think this movie was deep enough to scratch. I thought this movie was gonna be much more shallow than, and like this isn't even that deep. But the fact that they have like two themes going at once, I'm like, well, good job. I'm proud of you. Like,
I mean, they're kind of easy to go at.
I know, but like Megan didn't really have a second thing going on. Megan's thing was kind of just Megan, like that's it.
I watched a half hour thing. I didn't know.
But the B plot of this movie is that because Nick is a foreman at a construction site, all of his workers are going to be replaced except him because insurance states that they have to have a human person overseeing the worker robots.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Monty, his old racist coworker, they all go out drinking and then they decide to stop by their work when they're all drunk, which, like, come on, guy, what did you, like, don't go to your office drunk after hours. Nothing good is gonna happen.
Nothing good has ever happened.
Yeah.
Ever.
And
I speak from experience.
Nick has a code to the storage pods where they're keeping all these worker robots they're going to deploy soon after they lay these people off. And Monty basically, like, makes him, like, threatens him to the point where he's like, just give me your code to let me in so I can let the robots out. And he guesses,
not a good friend.
No.
Like, my relationship with this person would have been over after this moment.
Well, they're going with, okay, everybody's drunk. Mm-hmm. Drunk usually in movies at least is, and I, like I said, people use it to excuse, like, you know, well, I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Right.
But they're drunk, and so they're going and they're going to fuck up these robots that are going to replace them. And Monty bashes one of them, and they hold Nick back. But I'm like, that guy's fired tomorrow, Nick. You know, I mean, like,
yeah, because
go ahead.
They figure out his code to open the pod,
which is his daughter's birth year, I imagine, or birthday. Which that comes back later.
And I'm sure like there's video surveillance or
he
whatever.
Says that the bots have survaillance cameras inside them, so it's like a body cam for that's why he said, he's like, that's why we got to destroy
and
them.
I gotta believe that if advanced AI technology is possible in the future, that we have cameras everywhere. We have to. That's just, we would do that before we got to AI. So this is on camera.
Doesn't it feel like the passcode would be like your your fingerprint or something more sophisticated than just a
If
date
we were
at
in
this
the
point.
future, a handprint is like
your
if we're gonna-
retina
if-
scan or
yeah,
whatever.
more secure technology. It's not going to be number codes and everything. It's going to be who
This
you
movie's
are.
picking and choosing what technology
It
it's
is
chosen.
okay.
to
Right.
use.
That is the problem.
But it's the
I've
budget
had.
level.
Yeah,
or the,
it is a low budget movie.
Yeah, they didn't, like, I don't know. They didn't have enough time. Some people sit around like in artificial intelligence, the Spielberg movie, thought about the implications of this stuff for a while.
Yeah.
No, I guarantee you this movie came about because someone wrote M3GAN Fox on a whiteboard and underlined it and then said, that's the movie.
You're exactly right.
And that's all that.
Think about that.
They never thought past that. That
No.
was it. And you
Hey,
know what? Bless him
just
for
like-
it, you know?
It's already called Megan.
Yes.
Megan
That's why
Fox.
Fox.
Yep.
hopefully
You're right.
we'll
You're
get
absolutely
listens because the key search for Megan will hopefully turn up
You're
this episode.
Millennium
Exactly
Films
right.
was like, I see it. I can
Yes.
see it.
And
Sign me up.
that's
Here's the
it.
money.
Yeah.
And that's it too.
Yeah.
The Google search and what results it
Yes.
will come
Yep.
factored
Yeah.
into the making of this movie.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
Which is probably why you out there have seen it.
Yep.
Wow.
So this is laying in like the subplot is basically now Nick has participated in a criminal act at his job. His job is now threatened by the fact that Monty is out there and could turn him in, or there's going to be an investigation. He could lose his livelihood, and in addition to like his, the robot keeps telling like your wife may not survive this, so he could lose everything. This is why the guy drinks.
Yes.
So
Okay, but his excuse to his boss about why his code got hacked was one of my favorite things. Is he goes, it was Isla's birthday. Anyone could have guessed it. Like, I know my password was weak. So what?
Yeah.
I don't know any of my friends' kids' birthdays.
Yeah, no.
But that means
Definitely not.
they were
Wouldn't know
really
it.
good close friends.
Yeah.
I think they say that through the movie. It's supposed to be that
I
they
don't
were.
remember my niece's birthday,
Yeah,
my friend.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. I don't think it's a thing.
And so Alice decides to take care of the problem
Yes.
because there's like a blow up that happens that Nick comes over. He's all
Monty comes over to Nick's house
Right,
and
yeah.
is like, have some beers with me, and hangs out for what feels like a couple hours. We thought this was weird.
Yeah.
And he's saying that he's going to try to figure out who ratted him out, and he thinks it was Nick. And so he turns on him after two hours of hanging
and
out.
5 beers
Yes.
or whatever.
Just luring him into a false
Yeah.
sense
Yeah.
of security.
Yeah.
And then they can get into a knockdown, drag out fight in the outside in the front porch, and
Yep.
of course the robot comes out and intervenes.
Spartan kicks him. It's her
And-
move. Yeah.
Or does Spartan kicks him, or does
She does like the
She does kick him,
X-Men
or the
hand
hand
too, the
thing.
like hand push. Yeah.
Thump in a
Yeah.
way because she's super strong. She's got robot strength, and
when she wants to? We'll
Yeah.
talk about that later.
so she goes over to Monty's house, and that was the moment where I was like, okay, so I mean, you just assume, and maybe it's a fallacy on my part, that all robot programmers are subscribing to Asimov's the laws of what is it, the 3 laws of robotics.
Right.
Yeah.
One of which is you cannot allow harm or allow to be harm a human being. And she's got a pistol and she blows away Monty's robot, which apparently he abuses.
Colin, she bypassed protocols.
Yeah.
Covers it all.
Covers it all.
That's
Yes.
it. Yep, that's
Yep.
it. I got reset once. And I'm
Yep.
a fucking
Yep.
rogue agent.
So she straight out murders this human guy, Monty.
Yeah, it is funny though, because the reveal of she goes into Monty, who shouldn't ever, like, for a man who distrusts robots so much, except for the one he's lording over, lets her into his house, which he wouldn't. He would have had this conversation at the front door,
Right.
But I mean, lets her in. We get a reveal of that he has a robot that he has been like taking out his frustrations on.
She's been abusing a robot. It's
Yeah.
like literally a battered wife robot. She has like bruises
Basically.
and cuts on her face, and she's like begging for help.
Yeah,
So
basically.
yeah.
He can't take it out on society, so
Yep.
he's taking it out on the one at home.
Yep.
Which again, this also I think proves that robots are not as they come more cheaply than we think they do. The fact that he has one,
Right.
Yeah, and he says something, wasn't he given the whole thing like, you don't have any rights and blah, 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 blah. These are going to be ethical questions that future generations
Yep.
are going to have to deal
right?
with.
We'll be hopefully we'll be dead. I don't have to deal with this because I don't need another ethical thing to fucking think about. But
So
Amen.
now that we know that, I keep wanting to call her Megan now, but Alice is capable of murder. She returns to the home and then I think confronts the wife in the bathtub. And then I don't even remember what the connecting tissue is between that and trying to drown the baby. She like determines that the child.
He says something about, aren't you a little burden, aren't you? He says something jokingly like that when he's holding the baby, and she clocks that as like,
yeah,
oh, this is something stressing. Oh, and she also says that when the baby's crying, his heart rate is up and he's more stressed too.
Yes.
So it's as like the wife has told the robot, get out of my fucking house. You screwed my husband.
Go in the garage.
Yeah, I like that she goes, stands in the garage.
Yes.
Park yourself in the garage.
Yes.
And then there's a fight between man and wife in downstairs, and that's when the robot's like, oh well, I gotta go kill the kid because the kid's a burden.
I did like her little her little technology thing where she puts her fingers on everything because she does it for the heartbeat.
Yep.
She does for all, but she puts on the window.
The
to
sensors.
I was
or
wondering
whatever.
how she would hear that conversation because, well, I'm expecting like in every robot movie I've seen, there's like a little antenna comes out and she can hear the conversation. The next
or like
one,
Hal reads
yeah,
lips.
something, or something like. But this is like it works for this movie and it kind of like it fits in with everything else she's done, which is kind of nice.
Her putting her fingers to the window is like putting a cup up to the door, and then all of a sudden she can hear it.
Right,
Yeah.
where it's not crystal clear, but she
Right.
can hear it. I
Right.
like that.
But the baby's crying because they're fighting, so that's why she goes to drown the baby because
right.
the baby's crying and
Yeah.
that stresses Nick
But
out.
that
so.
also, I guess, like then both parents try to break in and one through the window, one through the door in order to save the baby, and then they beat the robot by electrocuting it. And
We need to hold on. She tries to drown a baby
She
in this
does.
movie. We can't blow past this. And this is like you see her place the baby in this bathtub, and then she turns the water on.
Yeah.
And this there is a real baby in like 2 inches of water for a decent amount of time. Cutting back to this, they put a real baby in a
somebody put their
bathtub
real
into
baby
this.
in
Yeah.
in a
I was
bathtub.
impressed
You
because I didn't think we would see that much.
Yeah.
You
True.
know.
You
The
could
movie
still-
cuts around it, but
Right.
there's
you could
still a
see
baby
where
in
there
a
are
bathtub.
limitations and they cut around and what have you. But
Yeah.
yeah, baby's in a bathtub, water's filling up.
I was surprised the movie went that far.
Yeah.
To
But
imply
just
that
on
she
this
was
side
gonna-
of the line that won't get you kicked off of a streaming service.
Yes, because the baby's fine.
Like, right, you can't
Yeah.
drown a rat in, whatever, in the abyss. They kicked that off of Disney Plus. Okay, so now it's like, okay, the humans, couple, united in their defeat of the robot. Okay. The cops come over and it's like, okay, we got to take the kid to the hospital, they get him checked out. He's fine. But we got to check him out. And the robot will be returned to its maker, which is like like hackers who work in a basement. I was like, is this, they took it back to the
It's
manufacturer?
It's the moron engineers from Westworld.
Yep.
Just like, she said, so let's keep doing it. And just like, okay, no.
Yeah.
No, there would at least be a police presence around this automaton.
Yeah, the cops had
until they
taken it
figured
as
out what was
evidence,
going
right?
on. Yeah, there would something. No, we just send it back to the company.
I don't know because like who gets charged with a crime if there is one? Like is the company, is this just going to be a lawsuit against the company?
Yeah, it would just be a
but
lawsuit
like
against the company, yeah.
That's what happens when
But
those
like,
robo-taxis
but when you
go.
signed the terms and conditions for leasing this thing, did you agree to not be able to sue this company? Like,
This is why
This is future
you read
law.
the iTunes agreement.
Yep. So we
Because
got to
you
become
don't know.
lawyers for
Yes.
the future because these are going to be things that we're going to have to argue in court. So,
And we're not joking, folks.
all right, this begins like then the movie like loses
Turn off
its
the
mind.
internet.
yes,
Yes, because
they
somehow,
literally say something to that effect, and they pull plugs out of the wall,
Yep.
Yeah.
and they follow it through the cords like it's water going through a hose.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're like, well, if we can cut it off before it gets to
Right,
this.
like it's not instantaneous. That is the internet.
I love to think about the internet being like water in a tube.
We think about it in such an analog way when we're so beyond that.
Yeah.
Just like, pull the plugs.
But it's
like,
because
it's gone,
she's
folks.
uploaded her conscious into the mainframe,
Yes.
and can then download into a
She
new
hacked the
body.
mainframe. It never goes away. From
Hack the mainframe.
fucking 70s to now. Hack the mainframe.
The mainframe. Yeah, that's right. Nobody uses that anymore.
No.
The server, what is it called now?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
whatever the central server is for this company.
Central server?
Yeah, I got
Central server instead of mainframe. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll try and fix my grammar. So,
change
anyway,
tomorrow.
but this changes everything. Now, Alice is able to take possession of all electronics. This always happens.
Always.
Right? Did
Always.
Megan do this? I can't remember. The new Chucky did. They did it on the X-Files. It's always like,
this is
Yeah.
Skynet coming to life.
right, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
This one rogue robot
Yes.
uploads itself and is now able to take over everything, shut off lights when it needs to, take other bodies, shut down other robots
Yep.
just by looking at them.
Yep.
You know, so she's like psychic. It's like magic powers, right? You can just shut somebody else
I
down.
just assume she's connected to them all since she is like she's like, what did you say? Is like Ultron. Like,
Yeah.
She's like Ultron.
she is like Ultron. That is really the
it's
best
Ultron.
analogy because when she gets plugged in, you can't like unplug her. You know, she's
Yeah.
she's out there. She's
so
escaped.
fast, moving to another
Yeah.
body and moving to another body. Yeah.
And so one of her returns to, I think, Nick. And
The fucked up original one with her
Yeah.
face, and like I do like her little glitch acting in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
part.
Glitch acting's good.
Yeah.
She's also got like a Jonah Hex facial scar.
She does,
Yeah,
yeah,
A little
she
bit.
really
Yeah, right
does.
there, yeah.
with little glowy
she-
things
Yep.
coming through
Yeah,
it.
she's doing a little.
While the blonde one, right, the new model, goes to the hospital to try and kill the mother and daughter.
Specifically, she wants to take her heart.
Yeah, because she has learned from Nick, it's like, if I had your heart,
Yes.
you would love me.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But that does imply like a desire, right? That you know,
Yeah.
This is all right. This is that's the only forgiving moment I have for why she doesn't just rip her apart. Because that is always, I think, the question when you have these robots who have, they're established with having like more strength than we do and all that stuff. Like, if her goal is to get rid of this target, which is what the robot would be doing, she would just crush her pipe and she'd be
Right.
done. But the desire that you talk about, I think, is why there is not that instantaneous kill, and she does go for the heart.
She wants her alive
There's
when
that
she takes her
symbolism,
heart, yeah.
or like there's something to it. There's
So-
just like there's more human in that than we're thinking. I think at this point.
And someone did call one of the automatons a Tin Man, so the idea that
I
she
like
needs
that
a
as a
real
slur, too.
heart in order
Right?
to
Yes.
become,
Yep,
you know.
Yep. So are we giving more credit to Subservience?
No, these
than
are
than
like
it deserves, like,
embedded in
or
the-
does it deserve? Like, because it's doing, it's doing some things.
I mean, we'll get to wrap ups, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate there's more texture to this world than I expected.
I
when
think that's.
first
I think
watched
that
it,
I
yes.
appreciate they're adding texture to
Yeah.
this, and they don't have to.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of
for a
impressed,
secret Netflix movie. Yes.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Movie that was
So-
never advertised anywhere.
right.
Yeah.
Well, they are able to beat the robot with the analog car. We were wondering,
course.
and sure enough, Nick is able to drive.
After she tries to pry the wife's chest open, she sticks her fingers in her fresh scar and pulls it back a little bit. I was like, ugh.
I mean, technically, that's the fastest way to get to someone's
yeah,
heart.
I mean,
through-
she's going
through
the efficient
breastbone.
route.
Honestly,
you
I kind of wanted it.
know? yeah, keep
I
going.
really want to just.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they had the money for that.
No.
Yeah. But then the wife Spartan kicks her in front of Nick's car.
How you gonna kick? Okay, well,
Yeah, shouldn't she weigh like a ton?
shouldn't she weigh
right?
like she should
Yeah.
be dense?
Yeah.
She's just like
Yeah.
dink, and
Yes.
it's just like, oh, I can't kick you. But no.
Also, this
she's able
woman
to
just
kick
had
her
heart surgery.
10 feet into the car.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, it's a problem. But I accepted it just because I wanted the Terminator ending,
Mm-hmm.
where I
With
just
the-
wanted.
she's on fire.
Oh, you
and
think she's
comes
dead,
out
and then
of it.
she rises up from the
Yeah.
fire
Mm-hmm.
and the machine and everything. I'm not even gonna say they kind of did it.
Yeah.
Because they only have flames on the hood of this car. They
Yeah.
don't have like a
They
whole
couldn't,
car
like,
on
hurt
fire.
it
Yeah.
on
fire, you
Yeah.
know, or there's no endo or exoskeleton,
Right.
endoskeleton that
Right?
comes out of
No,
it.
that's the other thing. They don't do any underneath stuff. They do
Yeah.
the
You
big-
can tell they don't have the money because it's all
Yeah.
in shadow. And
That's
it's
very
really,
true.
Like,
They do the little thing on the
covered,
face, so you know
yeah.
that she is, but we don't
Yeah.
get any underneath. What does she look like as?
Right.
no, she just her face melts and gets rubbery and her hair's all crispy, and that's kind of it. Yeah.
That's it.
And she is eventually defeated. It's the wife. Ultimately, the wife. I felt manipulated by that ending. It's like the wife is like, "Oh my god, my husband's dead." Like
Yeah.
she checks his pulse, he's dead. She tries to bring him back.
She's
he's
crying
dead.
because he's dead. Yes.
And then all of a sudden, the robot like rises up out of the ashes and attacks her. And she's, I think, where she stabs the robot Alice in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that the kill move?
That's-
Because it seemed like Nick all of a sudden is
He-
there and
Nick
like
or
Nick
with, like,
hits her with a pole or
Yeah.
something, but then Maggie stabs her in the eye.
yeah.
And then she's done. But we know this because the other robots within the hospital we've seen in the background come back to life and
Mm-hmm.
continue doing all this stuff. But it doesn't seem satisfying because, like, how is that a kill move for a robot?
Yeah, we
It
all were
shouldn't
like,
be.
don't trust this.
No, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
Like, you just stabbed it in the eye instead. Because you got to think about, like, where's our central processing unit? What is the,
The power source,
Where's
yeah.
the power
Assuming
source and
it's in
everything?
the
Yeah.
brain
Yeah,
Right.
you always
of a
think,
robot.
like,
I don't
what
know.
is the design of
You know?
this? Like, you can't just trust that.
Yeah, the most
And I
protected
don't know if
place
that
would be
and I don't
put it
right,
in the
and I don't know if
chest.
that's a downfall of the movie or me thinking about the robots. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know if that's their fault.
It could have established like a weak spot or a kill switch or something in this movie
There's
that would have like that doesn't seem like it would have been that hard.
There's a power
you
button
know,
on the back.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
also, there's the back of the head that's
Yeah.
always glowing.
Yeah.
They may recharge. They plug into the recharging
Yeah, we
station.
never see how she plugs into the wall.
We
which
see
could
that
have
she
been a
just
thing.
leans up against the
Right.
wall.
Yeah, but they didn't
but it's
establish that there's a socket
Yeah.
there.
No,
But
no,
I was like,
it's almost Borg-like, especially later
It
on when
is.
they're
Yeah.
stepping into the bar tunes.
The bartenders, oh my God. Okay, the bartenders, you just see it in the background. You have to look for it. But when they're at the bar, there's two bartenders that are off the clock, and they are literally like, look like they're like hooked onto like a touch tune screen.
Yes,
like
they
they
are
have the
touch
blue
tune
lights.
robots, and it's Borg-like, yeah.
I bet you they just put like a cardboard piece over touch tunes. That's probably what that is in that bar, you know?
I agree.
Yes.
I almost guarantee that's
Yes.
what it's like. We have it here. It's got the
blue lights,
the
yeah.
blue lights and everything. Just put someone back. That I
love
love
it.
the movie for. I love the movie for
I
doing
know.
that. Just like a simple solution to
Yeah.
make something look more technologically advanced. I love that they did it.
I love the old. It's just a background detail that I'd never noticed before. But I like when they clock out, they just go sit on their charger on the wall.
well, that's what I was wondering when they went to the construction site. Like,
Yeah.
oh, the robots can work day and night, right? But they don't. At night, they go and lock themselves in a pod and recharge.
Right? Is
They
that
gotta
because
charge
they
the
don't
batteries.
have supervision? Is that the only reason? Because
They
they could
haven't
work
started
day and
yet.
night.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or, well, plus you got to recharge the battery, I
Right.
suppose, at some point.
True, but
yeah.
all right, but that I mean,
Assuming
batteries
it
haven't
lasts
established
24
like,
hours.
but how long does it?
Yeah, we
battery
don't
last?
know.
So
Yeah,
we have
Maybe
more
it's like a
questions
2
on that,
days
but yes.
on, 1 day off sort
Right,
of thing.
yeah.
You
True.
know,
And you
Yeah,
can
is there a
work
robot
other ones
union?
at
It's
the-
like, I'm sorry, we're not working today.
yeah. That's when they rise up. Yep.
Yeah, it's like
They learn
you
about
broke
unions.
union rules. You
Yeah.
must die now.
Well, it's a happy ending, right? The couple stays together.
Yep.
They have things to work out. He's
Yep.
got to
Sure,
repair
sure,
the
sure.
relationship.
Yeah.
Remember that time you fucked a robot?
Yep.
That's going to be brought up a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Like the sequel should be her getting a hot young robot and fucking, and that's the only way they can be even. Because otherwise, it's always gonna have the one up on it.
If they
You
ever
can
do a
win
sequel
any
to this-
argument with you fucked the nanny robot
fucked the
while I
nanny
was in the
robot.
hospital waiting for a heart.
She does have that
Yeah.
card forever.
Ever. Yeah.
Yes. But there would never be a sequel with these people because they would hopefully. I believe they're smart enough to never get involved in this again.
Yeah,
As
but,
much as the world develops around them, they will never have another robot.
but there might be a sequel because we're shown at the end that the company that built her boots all the computers back up, and that had the file was in transfer was in progress, and oh my god, now she's everywhere like Job and the Lawnmower Man.
I would have liked
Yes.
this more if, like, yeah. I want something a little more analog because when she was originally doing this before, you know what? I still love a status bar. I still love I still love a progress bar. Upload between 0 and 100%. I still like that.
Yeah.
And I think if they had that, they got cut off when she got disconnected, and then when they reconnect, have it go boop boop boop,
Right.
100%. That does a lot more for me. And I think visually, I think that's good, and I think it still works.
yeah. We
But-
love our status bars. How else do you know that the things?
Right.
You know?
How else do you know?
Otherwise,
it's done?
you just
How
sit there
else do
going,
you know
like,
it's
is it
uploaded?
happening? I don't know if the transfer is working or not.
How do you know?
So that's
Welcome to three old people dealing with technology.
That
past
fear for
and
the
present.
future. Yes.
Yeah.
what will this movie look like to future audiences who are probably artificial intelligence? Find out later on. So that's Subservience. We're going to tell you whether or not we think you should watch it. But first, we're going to summon our mailman, Igor, to bring us the mail. Igor, bring us the mail.
Masters, the mail. I've got the mail. So many letters. Our followers are rising.
Why, thank you, Igor.
Thank you, sir. That man
Can we
is
get him
an
a-
analog till the day he
Oh, I was
dies.
gonna say we should get him a butler. So we have
Right,
like
so you're
we
right.
have like rushing nesting dolls
You're
of
right.
butlers, right?
He deserves
Yeah.
something.
That's
Yeah.
the future. Does
As long as
Igor
it's-
even bring us the mail anymore? Or does he just have his robot bring
I
us
think
the
on
Yeah.
a point of pride,
Mm-hmm.
he will always bring us the mail. Like
Yeah.
that is his
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
That is what
He doesn't
is
want to
able
hand
do.
that over.
No, no.
I mean, how many
Even though they're
decades are
coming to
left? I
take his
think
job.
there's a couple centuries left on his contract still, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, we did really
be here
shine
long
along
after
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not
We're gone, unfortunately.
No, but they can help him do his menial shit that
Yeah.
he doesn't
Right.
want to
Yeah,
do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Opening the mail.
Sorting
Sure,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sorting it, yeah.
helping sorting. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
When it's raining, he can send them outside to get
Yeah.
it.
That's
you
right,
know?
yeah.
So
Well, we should let the good folks at home know how they can participate on this interactive portion of our show by following along on Facebook,
Facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show.
on X,
At Set Freak Show.
by email.
Saturday Night Freak Show at yahoo.com.
And on Instagram at Saturday Night Freak Show about tonight's movie, Subservience. The boy with the Jason tattoo writes in and says, I think I'm going to do a double feature of this and Love Object. And thank you for always sharing with us new movies.
Oh my God, Love Object I have on my list to bring to the Freak Show. So let me know if I should.
Ooh,
That's the Desmond
Harrington,
one.
yeah.
Love it.
I had to buy a DVD from Canada to watch it.
Is that like 20 years old at this point? Yeah, so it's like an early,
Love Object's on my list. Let me know if I should bring it.
All right.
Yeah.
Michael Whitaker says you had 2 choices in malfunctioning sex bot movies from the last 2 years to pick, and this is the one you pick. Makes sense.
What was the other one?
Well,
one of them I don't want to say. Yeah. There's a recent one.
It's from this year.
Right, yeah, I gotcha. I know it.
We've all seen it.
We've all seen it.
We all liked it. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know?
Nick Siebel says, so I saw this movie when it first came out on Netflix, and only because of Megan Fox. Wow, she still has that it factor.
Yeah.
This is an average movie at best, one of those straight to Redbox type rentals from the mid 2010s.
Yep.
My major problem with the film is that is the unrealistic thought that it would take the main character 3 weeks to have sex with a Megan Fox robot. Realistically, I think every guy would be having sex with that robot on night 1, not even fully assembled for some.
I have to agree.
I agree. And
it's
I
going to
love
be top of mind.
I love that our listeners have seen this. I love that.
Yeah,
that makes me feel like I'm in the right direction.
That's because they're just like, Megan Fox is a robot?
Yeah.
So they're aware of it.
Yeah.
Because everyone's watching going, what are they going to do to her?
Well, we were talking about how like Netflix movies only market themselves like to subscribers of the channel. So
right.
Apparently you're all Netflix, so subscribers know that this movie exists. Novato Judoka says, is it bad that the minute I saw the photo you posted, I thought someone's going to bang that robot?
They might as well just make the tagline, someone will bang the robot.
Someone will bang this robot.
Yeah.
What was the tagline? It was like,
I forgot.
Don't turn her on.
Yeah, well,
or something like that.
If that's it, wow. Then they knew what they were doing. And,
They
knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's why we waited there for 41 breathless
Don't turn her
minutes.
on. Yes.
They knew what they were doing.
I
shouldn't even question it.
James Mace says, do all AI sex bots come with glowing blue mouths, or do you have to pay extra?
It's an upgraded feature in this movie. Yeah.
She has like a UV light so she can kill bacteria in her mouth.
But it also works as a flashlight at one point.
Yeah, there is a good couple minutes where it's just Megan Fox's mouth open, wandering around this movie.
Yep.
And so
following a blood trail.
We know who this movie was made for.
Richard Krotzer says, I'm not going to lie. I low-key love this trashy Terminator / Megan / Fatal Attraction / Basic Instinct ripoff.
Yes.
If this had come out in the late 80s or early 90s, it would have been either a smash hit or eventually a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was actually one of my suggestions for the January listeners poll.
Nice.
Oh,
So I'm
yay.
excited it finally made it to the podcast.
There you go.
Looking forward to listening to you guys and gals' analysis of this campy fembot fatale.
There we go.
I feel so vindicated that Richard Krotzer not has only seen this but loves it.
I found out, Richard, when I looked this movie up on Wikipedia, a fembot apparently is not the term that we use anymore now. It's the gyndroid.
Nope.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
I
a
did see that, and I thought they made that up.
What the fuck are you
No.
That's a way worse name.
No, that's
Way
a
worse.
horrible name.
Android is masculine
That's-
and gyndroid.
No, I hate that.
It's got guy in the phrase. It's
Yeah.
A GY.
GY, like
It doesn't matter.
gynecologist.
The sound, the phonetics, guy.
Yeah.
Gydroid. Yeah. Gydroid, you're
I
right.
don't like this.
No. We get rid of that term
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
Somebody
hate
boot
that.
that off then. Go
No.
edit the Wikipedia entry.
Cool.
Travis Legler says, I know Megan Fox's acting can be stiff and unbelievable, but isn't casting her as a robot kind of like typecasting? Honestly, I've never even heard of this movie. Should be interesting to have you guys spoil it for me before I decide if I should watch it. Well, that's I guess where
that's
we're at
what
now.
we're
We've
gonna
told you the
do.
whole movie, so
Although, like, how many things could you not see coming in this movie? You know,
Very
is there really
true.
spoilers for this movie?
It's just
You
like,
know?
you get the basics. Like
Yeah.
Megan Fox, Android,
home wreckers.
Yeah.
Subservience. It's just like, you
Yep.
get it.
Yeah. Last week we watched a movie called Death Stalker. Lucas Accardo says, hello there, fine people. Lucas here.
Hello.
You're rarely write in, but always listen follower from Buenos Aires.
Oh, cool.
And I'm
Yes,
glad
thank
you're
you.
talking about Death Stalker, which was shot here in Pampas.
Ooh.
I knew the second assistant director for the movie and many more produced in Argentina, like Highlander 2. Unfortunately, he wasn't all that fond of these deliciously cheesy flicks, so I had to restrain my enthusiasm and thirst for juicy gossip or trivia about the production because to him, it was just a job. Lots of about to become famous young actors in this country can be found here, like Boy Olmi. Yeah, that's his name. One of the first hapless bandits the hero stabs against a tree. I hope you'll tackle the sequel sometimes. A movie I think is superior to this one. Deathstalker 2 dives into intentional camp, and it's a lot of fun. Cheers from Argentina.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you
yes,
for writing in.
We will
That's-
absolutely be watching Deathstalker
yes,
too
we'll
because we watched the
absolutely-
trailer and we were sold.
Yeah, no, like Holly will bookend it. The end of summer, look for it. Thank you for writing in and thank you for
Yes,
listening.
thank you.
All the way from Argentina. We appreciate it.
It's awesome.
G-Money says,
G-Money!
Deathstalker was like a script from a teenager who watched TV for an afternoon and saw some Star Wars, Alf, the Beastmaster, and just pieced it all together after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He says you should just watch Conan instead. 2001 Maniacs, I believe, has that draw and quarter scene, and the Hitcher remake is close.
The Hitcher
Do we
remake
The
mention-
Hitcher
is a good
remake
one.
is the one where he splits them in
Yeah,
half.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
I remember
the
that. Yeah.
Hitcher happens
It
to, but
does,
you
yeah.
don't see it. I
Yeah.
don't think as much.
Yeah.
Do we mention
So
there's a
I've been-
drawing and quartering scene on our review of
Yeah.
Deathstalker?
Yeah.
Briefly, yes.
Speaking of the Hitcher, listeners, I've been debating bringing that. Should I bring the original or the remake? Because I see value in both and I can't decide. So let me know what you think.
Sophia Bush is in the remake, isn't she?
Mhm.
Yeah,
and Jared
I remember that.
Padalecki.
And Rutger Hauer is in
Padalecki,
the
man, he
Yes,
just did
he
more horror
made
movies
the
than we ever
rounds.
thought.
And
Wow.
Sean Bean is the Hitcher.
He
So
is. That's
do
what
you
I
go
remember.
Rutger
Yeah.
Hauer or Sean Bean?
Because it's
I guess
Rutger
is
Hauer
the-
and C. Thomas Howell, which I love. I
Yeah.
love those two too. So it's like, I know. I don't know which one we
I think
do.
you got to go original.
Well, I want to hear what the listeners have to say.
Yes, but
So
yes, let
tell
us
us.
know.
Yeah.
One more about Deathstalker. Roll Tide Zoe says,
Tide.
crap, I can't remember the actor. He's saying he's okay, but he's no Yor.
Oh yeah, the main guy in Deathstalker. Yeah, we agree. Yes.
Tim. Yeah, sorry.
It
the
already
guy
exited
from
our brain.
Deathstalker. The guy who
Yeah.
played Deathstalker.
Yeah.
He's okay,
yeah,
but
it's
he's
like
no
Tim
Yor.
Smith. Or it's
Yeah.
like real generic.
The week before that, we watched The Hills Have Eyes. Ironically, since you're talking about the Hitcher remake, Andrew Volstorff says the remake of The Hills Have Eyes is balls to the wall, messed up. 2 thumbs up.
It is. Yes. Rick Hill was the guy's
Rick
name.
Hill.
Rick,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Was the Deathstalker.
We were nowhere close.
Right, Rick Hill.
So he's no Yor.
No, he's not.
I know, because we were talking about Yor a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's dozens of fantasy movies. We've seen Yor and we love it. And
Yep.
so we
We
were
love
like,
Yor. Yeah.
that's the bar.
Yor,
Next to Conan,
yes.
Yor,
Truly is.
Yeah.
the hunter from the future. Well, thank you all, each of you, for writing in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And now we're going to go around the table and tell you what we thought of tonight's movie, starting with
Colin,
Oh,
I'm
boy.
not going to pick myself. What do you think of this movie, Subservience?
Subservience. It plays like a I think one of the listeners said like a Redbox movie. I don't know. It's the cheap jack version of a lot of these things. I mean, even Upgrade felt cheaper but more accomplished
Yes.
than this. So, okay, there's no denying its shortcomings. I think in the writing also sometimes it's doing some stuff that's obvious where it could be more clever. But you've got Megan Fox as a sex robot. I mean, well, I don't know.
It's
Actually-
a robot, Colin. She gets turned into a sex robot later.
Okay. Tell yourself what you want. We all went into
Whatever
that.
helps you sleep at night,
Everyone
yeah.
who has ever hit play on this movie is like, what?
When did they fuck the robot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially because it's called Subservience. So you're
Yeah.
like,
Right, that is right. That is
yeah.
key.
At
It's
least
just
it was
like-
her choice, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I guess I don't know. Do you reveal like okay, did it provided a certain amount of sexual tension because when is he going to screw the robot?
Yep.
When the big scene happened, I guess it was okay, but I felt denied. I thought they were playing it kind of safe because like some movies, like what it really needs is that movie that goes over the line of common decency or crosses the line
Sleazier.
into and then you go like, well, I'll remember that movie for the rest of my life.
Sure.
I mean, I guess I'll remember that Megan Fox played a sex robot.
Yep.
The image that's coming to mind whenever I think about this is like after she drops the robe when she's standing in front of him and she's in like a bathing suit.
It's the big light in her mouth, and she's walking. That's the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, like Megan Fox, sex robot, light in her mouth, or standing there in her bikini. So I mean, I don't. It's we're talking about a lot of stuff here that I like that the movie inspired the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of other movies do this also. It's just, we finally get to sit around and actually talk about it. So it's like, is the movie better because of that? Do I recommend that you see it? I saw Twisted Pair, and that was the worst movie I've ever seen. This is better than Twisted Pair, so I guess I'm recommending it. Sean, what do you think?
Oh, wow.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Wow. That was some whiplash on that.
Fucking Jesus. Twisted Pair.
The spectrum of Twisted Pair.
Yeah,
and Subservience.
It reset everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every
All right,
movie is
new
a
era,
recommend.
new era. All right. Twisted Pair, and then all right. That's what we're going
Okay,
with.
honestly, is it, you got to rush out and see it? What other, well, okay, I was going to say, what other sex robot movie
It's a
is
movie
there
for
that-
adults, though.
Yeah, but I just thought the other one that we can't say what it is
Yeah.
is the one that you should watch if you had to choose between the two.
Well, yeah.
But I
you're
think
not
that-
going
well,
to get Megan Fox's
That's not,
sex robot.
I think they're going for different things.
Okay.
Yeah?
All
I think
right,
so.
wait. In my review, I would say that that's what I'm going to say. It's just like they're giving you different parts of the spectrum on this subject.
Right.
So I think both are worthy. One is, I think, can I say far better? Because they're exploring different topics. So how do you say one's better than the other? I'll say, Jesus, I didn't think I was going to say
Well,
this.
it goes into, I guess the other one goes into more like a, okay.
It's hard to talk about because we
hard
really
to-
don't want
all
to spoil it for you guys.
What I'm
so-
going to say is I'm going to recommend this movie. I'm going to recommend Subservience because I really, again, hour and 45 minutes, I was never bored. Because this movie brings up so many questions that we should have nowadays about, because we are on the brink of all of this actually happening. We are there now. And so it makes you think about our place as humans within creating this technology, our interactions with them, how we should feel about them, how they end up feeling about us. Like, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot to talk about in this. And
But is that stuff that's covered by like Westworld, or
it's a continuing conversation
Yeah.
that keeps getting, like, it dies down and it gets brought up again by these movies coming out, I think. So, like, you end up having the conversation with Westworld and you cover certain things, and then you cover it based on what that show is. Conversation dies down. This movie comes along. You have those conversations again, or different variations of them.
I mean, we were talking about, Spielberg's AI or whatever. That's been a conversation for like 25 years, if
and-
not more. It's yeah.
So I think I like the conversation around this subject matter. I think it's very interesting. I think it impacts our lives more so now than it ever did in the past. Although there's varying degrees of the advancement of technology and how it affects us, and what we're striving for and everything. I like the conversation around this movie. I like that Megan Fox being cast in this role, I think, is a big thing in that conversation because of how you feel about her as an actress. And that gets brought into, your feelings separate from that get brought into this movie.
She does come with baggage, doesn't she?
And I think the baggage,
it's like not
she
even
does.
her fault, I don't think.
Right,
But
and it's not, and I wouldn't blame her for it.
Right.
But the fact that
a good
baggage
point.
is part of it is very interesting and very good. And how you feel about Megan Fox as an actress, like, because she has done things that I like. She has been good. She has been accused of being not the best, and so her being a robot is adds to the conversation. It ended up being a sex robot because, I mean, let's face it, that's how a certain portion of our audience view her as that, and only that. So it ends up creating a very interesting conversation about all of this that I find fascinating. And then to top it all off, the movie was entertaining in that, like I told Michaela midway through this, I'm like, this is Orphan interesting, and I understand it, and for that, I recommend it because there's a lot to there's a lot to like in this. There's a lot of stuff that's very interesting, a lot of conversation you can have with people if you can, find people that have seen this movie. I'll recommend it. I was very interested, very entertained by it. So I think you should watch it. I'll talk to you about it. Talk to me about Subservience.
Yes.
So there we go.
There's a lot of plot stuff. I guess, that always plot stuff that isn't working entirely, like the fact that they have to inject that.
Right. It doesn't.
Right.
No, it doesn't
Yeah.
work
So
on
it's
all
like,
levels
as
because we
the
get that
movie
scene. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the conversation.
Right, but I think I maybe I can't separate it from the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that is all one and one, and then that's why I recommend it. But yeah,
I get what you're saying, Colin, but I would say that like Megan and the other movie we can't mention are a little too highbrow and mainstream to be on the Freak Show. I think they're both a little too good to be on the Freak Show too, to be honest. This is the grocery store version.
That's not where we live. The
Yes,
Freak Show version.
this is-
That's not where we live.
This is why I brought this. This is the grocery. Like if you're going to the grocery store rental counter, right, in the 90s, and you're seeing like the titles and then the shelf below it you're seeing like the B-movie versions of those titles, that's where you're going to find Subservience. I think I agree. I think it could be sleazier. I wish it was, but also like I just don't think. I think that movies that meet our level of sleaze don't really get made very much at all anymore. Version? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I do appreciate that it at least is R-rated, right? We were talking off mic about how the Megan 2.0 is still PG-13. Yeah. What a fucking waste. So I like that it's like, you know what? If we're going to have Megan Fox in it and she's going to be a sex robot, we're going to do an R rating, I've thought about bringing in the movie we can't mention, but like I said, I honestly don't think we should do an episode on that because you shouldn't know anything about that movie going into it.
Unfortunately, the
At
trailer's
all.
ruined
Yes.
it.
This is us bringing Halloween 4 versus Halloween.
This is the Freak Show version. Yeah. And I also thought about, I'm surprised you brought up, I thought about Ex Machina a lot watching this movie too.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is like if Spike TV made Ex Machina. Like it's very like dude sense of humor. It's like the boob, but she's Megan Fox.
Dudes who like movies.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they would love this shit out of Barstool sports fans. Love Subservience.
Barstool loves this movie. Yeah.
It is a very bro-y movie in that sense. But I watched it like on a whim because I had heard someone casually mention on a podcast like, oh, Megan Fox in the role she was born to play a sex robot. And I was like, say what? And then I didn't realize it was a recent movie. I thought this was something from back in the day I missed. And then it's like this secret Netflix movie no one's talked about. And so my husband and I watched it and we were laughing our asses off the whole time. But also like it legitimately surprised us at a couple of turns, like her changing her voice and trying to drown the baby. It made choices I didn't expect. And yes, it's very Orphan coded. I agree. It feels like it hits a lot of the same beats as The Orphan. Even the third act of The Orphan, the one kid's in the hospital and they have to go be at the hospital and be separated from the dad. It really is like story beats of The Orphan, but with Megan Fox instead of a little girl that's really an adult. So I would love to see a sequel. I would love to see her go against other villains. Megan versus other Megan would be cool.
That would be like Megan would do that. In Predator 2 when they show the wall skulls and everything. Yeah. Like Megan would do that and include Subservience in that somehow with Megan Fox in the background as other androids. Like she would do that. Yeah.
I like the texture added to the world with like the B plot that doesn't really need to be there. And like the casual slurs and the way that like robots have ingratiated themselves so much into the society that you don't really notice until you're really watching it. Yeah, it is a bleaker watch the closer we get to this future for sure. Like I said, it was a lot more fun just even like 8 months ago than it was now, but it's a good time. It goes fast. It moves pretty good. And it does have some surprises, even if you do feel like you're going to know all the beats. But even still, like we've been talking about, we've been making this movie for 25 years now and we're still not bored of it. So, why not watch it? I feel like it's a very minimal investment in this movie you could watch it folding your laundry and you'll be totally fine. You're not, I don't think you're going to miss anything major. So yeah, definitely recommend it. It's a fun time.
I guess that's 3 recommends from the Saturday. When was the first movie where somebody fucked a robot? I mean,
what is the? Should I ask Mr. Skin? Mr. Skin
I'm curious if we could do that on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm thinking of like Splice. It's always like man creates a woman, and then
it's definitely.
Well, I mean, you're looking at like one of those old Frankenstein movies
definitely.
or something. Yeah.
But no, they definitely like
the idea that Frankenstein created woman was the name of one.
It really is. Yeah. So like he definitely fucked up a reconstructed woman in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he does. But still,
Somebody
it's the idea that you're because then you're going back to the Bride of Frank. Okay.
Right. Well, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
See, lots of discussion from this movie.
History.
So yes.
So, you should watch it. Next week, we're going to watch a movie that's chosen by
Colin. What are we going to do next week?
We're going to do back to Freak Show Stomping Grounds. Like giant monsters.
Ooh, always down for
all right.
giant monsters.
Specifically radiated, enlarged animals on Earth that turn big because they eat the food of the gods.
Oh, the Food of the Gods. Awesome. I've never seen this.
Never seen this. Okay.
I've always wanted to, yeah.
Don't really know what it's about.
From the guy who made a bunch of giant monster movies.
Yes,
so we'll talk
just the way
about
I
that.
like
So
yeah.
Food of the Gods next week on
Awesome.
the Saturday Night Freak Show. We hope you'll join us based on an H.G. Wells story. There you
Love
go.
it.
Okay.
We hope you'll join us. And until then, ladies and germs, the basement is going dark.